Alright, in this first scenario we're going to shoot an LPV approach into Appleton, Wisconsin. It's the RNAV3 approach. We'll fly out of Fond du Lac using the OSH transition to Appleton. Here's the approach plate. If you're following along at home, we're using the Flying with the Avidyne IFD book by Michael F. Bauer. This scenario is on page 160. Alright, so I brought up my iPad here with the IFD Trainer app right here, so I'm going to select that. And it'll bring up the trainer, and we'll go through this scenario. Last time I used a sim, it was in Dallas Love, so I'm going to reposition the simulator. First thing I'm going to do is use this side tab here, touch it, and that'll bring me so I can see a map. But I'm going to go over here where it says KDAL and just touch anywhere on that. And this is how you reposition your simulator as well. You just touch on that and it'll bring up a QWERTY keyboard, and I'm going to put in Fond du Lac. So K, F, L, and then GeoPhil nominates Fond du Lac. I hit enter, and now it repositions the sim in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, as you see here. And now we're going to enter in, I'm just going to push the FMS button here. I'm going to enter in OSH as my, and it nominates it because it's the nearest VOR, and then we're going to hit enter again. And I'll put enter again, and I want to enter a waypoint, which is my destination. Enter again, and I want to touch here because I'm going to put in K, A, and then GeoPhil nominates ATW. I'm going to hit enter, and there's my flight plan. It's all ready to roll. Now if I want, I can go ahead and activate that flight plan by pushing this activate button, and it's going to take off and fly that. And if I zoom in here, you can see that. So there's our simulator. It's taking off. And let's go ahead and go back to the FMS page, and let's load the procedure. So let's hit the proc button so we can load the approach, the RNAV3. And I can scroll down by turning the knob, or I just reach up and touch the RNAV3. You can see there's a preview. It's the RNAV3, so we hit enter, or you can either hit the enter or push in on the FMS button. I like to just hang on to the FMS button. And it's the OSH transition, so we'll select OSH by just touching that and hitting the button. And there, now our approach is loaded, and it's all in view. And now we're just going to cruise our way over there to toward Oshkosh. On the simulation, I'm going to go ahead and speed this up so it gets us there a little quicker. If I go over here to my map page, you can see I'm on the map. I go to SVS, and now I've got a 3D view. I go to chart. So it's at Fond du Lac because that's where I departed from, but if I select chart, I can paste the destination airport, Appleton. It knows that, and we want the RNAV3, so I'll just double click that, and now it shows my approach chart. We can go back to the FMS, and we're flying inbound. You can see the extents of the chart when we fly onto the chart. You can see the boundaries here. I'm going to slow this down for a minute. So now we're in GPS mode. We're nearly to the OSH transition. If I go over to the map page and select SynViz, you can kind of see a 3D version of it, right? Now we're transitioning to OSH, which is our initial approach fix. I'm going to go back to FMS here. Notice it says next leg in 4 seconds, and there it goes. Notice now the LPV is armed. We're still in GPS mode, but it's armed. We're in the terminal mode here. If I go to the first person SynViz on my 550, I can see the next waypoint, the Apixie, out the window. If I go back to FMS, I'm in a plan view. If I go to map, there's my 3D and trail or exocentric view. If I bring up my side tab here, I can see all my data blocks, including my current active waypoint, my nearest airport, my destination airport, MSA, ground speed, etc., etc. And this is scrollable, so I can scroll up and down. And I can customize that. If I want to load frequencies, I can hit the frequency button and double click on a frequency, or go to Appleton Tower, maybe, whatever we want, and then flip-flop that into the active. Go to en route, Milwaukee approach. There we go. Just put some frequencies in there. We're waiting to get to a pixie here. Let's go back to the map. In fact, if we go back to FMS here, there's the plan view. I'm going to pinch zoom so you can see that. Next leg in 9 seconds. So now when we turn inbound at a pixie, we're going to switch from GPS to LPV. I'm going to go to the first person SVS page. Watch when we turn inbound. Our lateral and vertical deviation indicators will appear, and we'll be fully coupled on our LPV approach. Our terminal mode's going to switch to approach mode. There it goes. Well, I'm now in LPV approach. I've got approach mode here and my nav mode, and now I'm inbound. Notice I'm below the glide slope, so as I fly along, I will fly and intercept that. I'm on D-bar centered here on the lateral deviation indicator. And as we get closer, you'll see this will turn white on the glide slope, and it'll start coming into view as we fly to it. There it is. Now, one thing with the sim, it's not going to actually descend for us. So I'll actually keep flying at this altitude in the simulator. But obviously, if you were hand flying or if you were coupled, it would try to center the vertical needle as well as the lateral, and you would move on. So we're just going to fly it straight through it, and obviously now we're above the glide path. We're going to fly the mist at this point. If I go back to the map page, you can see coming up on the runway 03 is our mist approach point. When we get to that, it will auto transition to the mist. When we go fly mist, this will switch back to GPS. The FMS will, if I go to FMS page, here's our instructions for the mist right here. So it says we're going to fly 028 to 1133 feet and head for a SIGI at 030. So that's going to be our mist approach fix there. All right, so now we're flying the mist. This will switch out of approach mode back to terminal. This goes to GPS as our navigation mode. And look, a SIGI is automatically in the queue as here's our, if I pinch zoom, you can see our holding pattern there. A couple other views. Let's go to the map. You can see it there. Notice our next leg is magenta and white, so barber pole. So it's very obvious what we're going to do, how we're going to enter the hold. It says here it's a teardrop entry. It gives us a clue. And now we're going to enter the hold, and we got to be at a certain altitude. We got to be at or above 2,700. So now we're on a hold, and we'll just stay in the hold until such time as given instructions otherwise or asked for to fly the mist, which is what we'll do.